Welcome to the second lecture of Design and Analysis of Algorithm. In this lecture, we are going to talk about asymptotic notations, and we would see that how you can solve the recurrence relationship. And there is a shortcut, a very important method that is called the master method. We would see that what is the master method and how can you utilize it. We would also, if time permits, try to see an algorithm and see its analysis, that is the integer multiplication algorithm. We would see that what this algorithm is and what is the advantage of that particular thing. So once again, in case if you have any question, you may please type. So let us start our discussion. The first thing that I wanted to discuss today is the asymptotic notation. So into the domain of design and analysis of algorithm, our focus is to understand that what is the behavior of my algorithm on a machine. So you may know that machines are day by day becoming better. So earlier machine which has a which was running with a less speed, now it is a very fast machine. So every time you can see that a lot of improvement is there. But if we want to see from the perspective of the algorithm, then we should not consider that what are the actual number of instructions that are executed by the machine. Why? Because as I'm telling that the machine can be better, and the same algorithm that is taking 10 minutes maybe after some time may in few years would only take 5 minutes. So what would happen? Can you say that this this algorithm has become better? The answer is no. So if you want to be if you want to understand that what is the effectiveness of algorithm is, then you should be independent of the machine behaviors. So here, whenever we go and try to analyze the thing, we want to see that what is the time, how the time taken by a particular algorithm changes as the size input size increases. So we are more interested in that. We are not that much interested in actually to the actual number of instructions taken and the time taken by that particular algorithm. So a new notion has been developed, and that is called the asymptotic notation. What is asymptotic notation? What is asymptotic notation? It is a kind of uh, there are, you can see that there are 5 symbols written: theta, big O, small o, small omega, big omega. These things are called the asymptotic notation. They have a very settled notion, and what is that we are going to today we are going to discuss about that. Essentially what happens that sometime just consider this particular this particular graph here. I want to understand, let's assume that I want to understand the behavior of a function that is fn. So can you see this? It is like this, it is going something like that. Okay, if I want to understand the behavior of this particular function, so into the asymptotic notation, actually we want to understand the behavior of this function with respect to any other function. Okay, so because it may be possible that sometime we don't know exactly that what fn what is the behavior of fn is. As I'm telling that algorithm may take different time, and you also know that even if the same algorithm is the same size input, if we change the sequence of that particular input, means we change the different instances with the same size of input also, so my machine can take a different amount of time. So we want to, if we want to understand the behavior of an algorithm, we have to see this with the perspective of some of the known function. So let us consider that there is some function g. Is it possible that can I multiply a constant say c2 and constant c1 to the same function, so that after some point uh, this function actually is inside the boundary of c1g and c2g? Do you understand this, what I told? Once again, let me repeat what I told. I want to say you that we want to analyze the behavior of fn, but sometimes we don't have the direct access, because we know that when we change the input, even if with the same size, this particular function behavior of this function changes. So can we use some known function gn to understand the behavior of fn? How? can we use a multiplying factor, say C1, that if we multiply the C1 with the Gn and another multiplying factor C2, definitely as you can think that here C2 would be greater than C1. So if we multiply some constant, and where C1, C2 are constant, if we multiply with a constant C1, then this Gn is actually smaller than in all the cases of Fn, and if we multiply with the C2, then this is greater than for all the cases of Fn. Is it possible? So sometime you may think that and that initially it is not possible, but can we find out after some time when the value, my value of n is greater than some threshold, then after that in this particular area everywhere I am satisfied, every time it can be satisfied. If this kind of conditions are satisfied, then we can put an understanding of Fn in terms of the Gn. Then Gn can be used to describe the Fn. Okay, the same idea has been exploited by using the asymptotic notation, because we don't know exact function, then we use some different function to tell about that the behavior of that particular thing. Is it clear? So essentially these things, if we go into the much detail, all these things would be clear to you very soon. Actually, the definition is this, that let me just talk about a specific thing, and that is theta. Let us just focus on one thing, that is theta. What is theta? Okay, so theta is this particular theta. Theta is a set. Okay, the definition is here. Theta of if function Gn is a set. What is that set? Such that all such function, all such fn's are there, such that we can find out these C1 and C2s. There exist positive constant C1 and C2 and some n0, this value, after which if we multiply this Gn with the C1, means C1 Gn, then it is less than the Fn, and if we multiply Gn with the C2, then it is greater than the Fn for all values of n that are greater than n0. Make sense? Does it make anything clear? So this is going to be a set. So let us investigate, let us discover a set for the sake of understanding what is theta of x. So if I want to find out theta of x, can anybody tell me that what is g of x? Gx is equal to, there is a question, is there a tutorial test tomorrow? The answer is yes. Whenever in all the tutorials there would be a test. Okay, yeah. So can anybody tell that what is Gx? If I want to find out theta of x, then what is Gx? Because in this definition you can see that theta of Gx need to be find out. We can find out theta of Gx. Then what is Gx? Can anybody write? X, yes, definitely. X, it is x, because what is inside? Inside is the Gx. Okay, therefore x is this. So all those functions would be inside this set, to whom if I can find out a multiplying factor, 2 multiplying factor, and it is greater. So just let me write 3x plus 2. Can this be inside this particular set? So to be this thing inside the set, can I find out any value such that if I multiply with the x, can you give me a value that is called C1? If I multiply with the x, it is less than or equal to this part. I'm talking about this part. Okay, I'm talking about this part. Okay, let's focus on this. Can I find out any C1 such that it is always less than 3x plus 2? Can you give me a value? And C1 C's are, let's assume that they are positive constant. So for example, let me take C1 is equal to 1. So x, you can see that 1 multiplied by x is always less than 3x plus 2. So yes, I can find out the C1. I can find out the C1. So the second condition, let me go to the next side, and the next side says that this thing, that is, can you give me a C2 into the same setting? It says that, can you give me another value that is C2, when it is multiplied with that, it is always greater than 3x plus 2. So I can see, okay, so what is the problem? I can take C this to be the 4. Okay, can I take this 4? The answer is yes. Okay, so if both the I can find out C1 and C2, I can find out C1 and C2, and what is N0? After what value this is going to appear? So I need not to be very tight. Any value can help. For example, if n is greater than or equal to 10, then this is going to be satisfied. So with this understanding, this particular function 3x plus 2 is going to be inside this particular set. Make sense? Similarly, 3x. If I ask you that whether 3x is inside this set, you can say yes. Whether 5x plus 4 is inside this set, yes. Similarly, you can find out. Say what is C1, you can take 4. What is C2, you can take 6. So all these things are there. So theta of a function is a set. Is it clear? It contains how many items? Can anybody tell? How many items are there? Infinite items. Infinite functions are there. Okay, in this set, infinite functions are there. So if I write this thing that 5x plus 4 is inside theta of x, how many of you would agree? Can you write yes? Yes, you agree that it is going to be this. So one more thing that is very strange, but in our case, actually in our domain, in our algorithmic domain, this is written like this. If I write 5x plus 4 is equal to theta of x, so essentially I am going to write like this, but what would you read it? You would read that actually I am writing here set membership function. All right, few more example. What is the theta of log x? So here log x is there. So those function where there is some constant is multiplied over here, or there is something addition 5x cube, because you know that 3 can come out, then it becomes 15. 5 log x cube plus 2. All these functions are into this particular set. So now you understand that what do I mean by theta. We can write 5x plus 4 is equal to theta of x when this particular function belongs to this particular set. Make sense? So definition is clear. After some time, all the functions which are inside this set, they are such that we have some constants. If we can use those constants, there exists some constant. If we can multiply them, then this function can be bounded. So all such functions are here. Very good. Next notion is the big O. Big O actually says that I need not to take care of this smaller one. I just say if I remove this condition from the theta, means then I need not two constant, only one constant would suffice. Then I can write the definition in this way, that gn is equal to fn, and there exists a positive constant, only one positive constant, and n0, such that fn is less than cgn for all n that is greater than n. So this function, what is the property of this function? That this function is bigger than that. This function is actually bigger than. So here I have a constant c. If I multiply with the gn, then all those functions whose value is actually lesser than me, they are going to be in my set. Understand? All those functions whose value is lesser than, if I can find out a constant, and for all the values after n0, if the value is lesser than this particular function, then we can say that all those functions are going to be into the set of big O of gn. So say into the same way, the function which were earlier, they are also here, because of this equality constant, function which was there into the set of theta, they are also there. But since there is no minimum side support is there, so therefore all those functions which even are the smaller, they can also come into this particular set. So into the theta of x, these functions which were earlier, they are there, but I can put even the smaller function. For example, 3 under root x plus 4. And you know that under root x would be, if there is some x, then under root x would be like this. It would be lesser than that. So this function would also come into this particular set, big O. So 3 under root x plus 4 log x. Log x is also a smaller function. Then this would also come here. Constant, definitely the constant would come here. In this way, we can create this set. So most of the time, since you know that this is a very important application of this particular notation is this. So since you know that if you have an algorithm and you know that what is the worst behavior, worst time, okay, so worst time is the highest time that it takes. So if you know that any algorithm that take worst case running time of order of n square, then you can represent this order of n square, big O of n square, and the running time of that algorithm is bounded by this particular quantity. You can say like that. So because in this particular set, order of n is also there. So if there is any best case that is of order that takes lesser time, that is also being covered into this particular representation. So best cases are also covered here. So the most important thing is this, that if you want to represent worst case performance of a algorithm, then you can use the big O notation. In the big O, there is small modification that makes it a small o, and that modification is this, that you remove the equality from here. If you remove the equality from here and you say that there is no equality, all the functions which are smaller than this in this are only allowed in my set. So you may now think that into the previous thing, the function which had the same level, they are removed. So then this particular set becomes small o. Okay. Into the big O, you know that we have just recently seen that this was the set we have just few minutes back seen, that this is big O. So what is the small o? Into the small o, this term would vanish. This term would not be there. Okay, because here is the equality. They are of the similar nature. Only I need the smaller item, which are actually smaller. One thing you should understand, that if the function is such that this function is actually always smaller than the gn, okay, so who is larger set? Gn. So if I divide fn by gn, what I am going to get? I am going to get a number that is less than n. If limit n tends to infinite, if I find out what is the limit n tends to infinite, what will be the value? The value would be, can anybody tell? Because the inner function is actually smaller function, and therefore what is the value that is going to be? Can anybody tell? It is going to be 0. Yeah. So this value is going to be 0. So limit n tends to infinite. If you want to tell that this function, if fn, you have to somehow show that fn is equal to small o of gn, somewhere if you need to show, then you can put into this formula, find out the limit, and the limit would be 0. Okay, so next asymptotic notation is the sigma, and let us talk about the big sigma. And this sigma is actually this third graph that actually we had here. Okay, so sigma is the third graph that is here. What it says, that if I know some, because known function is gn, I say that if there is a possibility that I multiply with this c and the function is actually greater than me, this particular function is above, this fn is actually above. So the set that contains those functions which are greater than the known function, this particular set is called the omega. So make sense? Okay. So we were here. Okay. So here, if I want to ask that what is omega of n, here you can say into the same into the definition of theta, this smaller part is actually important. It says that this part, and this condition is removed. Okay, this part is removed, that there is no upper limit is not there. It is telling that if some function is greater than me, from for the g, if some function is greater than this, even if by multiplying a constant c1, then we are okay. So this is what the definition is. If cgn is equal to less than fn, then those kind of functions are there. So can you tell me into the x what kind of function I can put? X should be lesser than those functions. So the power of x would be something greater than 1. Okay. So however, because the equality is also there, so similar function could also come. 3x can also come, 5x plus 4 can also come, because of equality. And then we say that x under root x. So you can say that x under root x is x to the power 3 by 2. So it is bigger. So he x under root x plus anything added is actually not that much important. So here you can say that x to the power 6 plus 3x to the power 4 plus 5. So all these terms would come over here. In the same way as from the big O we go to the small o, from the big omega you can come to the small omega. That only says that this equality condition can be relaxed. If this equality condition is removed, then for any positive constant c, there should exist a constant n0 after which this function is actually greater than the original function. So what does it mean? That for the x, all the functions should be greater. So who is not greater? This is not greater. This is also not greater. All other things are actually greater. So these things, those things would be there. 3x under root x plus 4 and 3x under root x plus 4 log x. All these functions would come over here. In the same sitting, because this function is bigger, if I say that fx upon gx, if you try to find out fx upon gx, so because fx is greater than this, and I say that fx is equal to omega of gx. Okay, it is small omega. So it means that fx is definitely greater than this. So this value is going to be greater than 1. If I take limit of n tends to infinite, this value is going to be infinite, because value that is greater than 0 becomes infinite. So if you need to show somewhere that some function is actually of the omega order, then you have to find out the limit, and you can show in this way. Okay, so here are some examples. So can you show me that max of fx comma gx is equal to theta of fx plus fn plus gn? So to show this, you can think that there could be two conditions when fn is actually greater than gn, or either three conditions. Actually, you can say that safely. You can say that when fn is equal to, fn has a higher order, so you can say that fn is greater than not equal to, I just don't want equal to egn, and fn are is equal to gn, and fn is actually less than gn. Okay, so this condition actually tells that this condition actually talks about when fn is greater than this. So you can say that in this condition, if you want to find out the theta of fn plus gn, who is the bigger term? Fn. So who will survive? Fn would survive. And because of this condition, who comes into the max, taking the max value? Fn. So essentially you are telling fn is equal to fn. Condition is all correct. When fn is equal to gn, then it doesn't make any sense. If you want to take the max, I can say fn, I can take fn here, and from here also, since both the things are equal, then I can say that fn. So this is again the same thing. If fn is less than gn, then max gives you the gn, and here the biggest term is again gn, so here you get gn. So in all the cases, you can say that using three cases, you can show that this thing holds. Okay, next question, show that n to the power n plus a to the power b is equal to theta of n to the power b. So here this term, you know that you can apply the binomial expansion. So you can see that the term is n to the power b plus nc1 n to the power b minus 1 a plus dot dot dot. So if this is written over here, so if you want to show that this thing of theta of x to the power n, so what you need, you need a constant c1 such that if you multiply with the x to the power b, this term, then it should be less than this. And you also need another constant c2 such that if you multiply this with the x to the power b, it is greater than this. Now your task is to give me c1 and c2. So can you give me what the c1 and c2? So c1 could be 1/2 and c2 could be 2. Okay, makes sense. So after what value it is going to what is n0? After which this after which value of n0 half of x to the power b is less than or equal to this expression is less than equal to 2 x to the power b. So, so does it matter whether we remove the equality sign or not? Yes, it matters. As I told you that it matters that equality sign is important. We have seen that from big omega it becomes a small omega, big O it becomes a small o. Okay. So, so can you find out that what is the value of n0 for which this particular thing is going to execute, is going to hold? So definitely I leave it on you. You can find out that what is the appropriate value, and even I don't say that you use these values. You can choose any other value to show me that the things are actually going to hold. All right. So next question, that whether 2 to the power n plus 1 is big O of 2 to the power n. This second question. So big O condition, what it is, that this number should be less than equal to big O of c multiplied by 2 to the power n. Big O from the it is not going to bound from the both the sides. It is only going to bind you from the upper side. So can you give me any value of c, that so that this is always less than this? C
3.
could be, can anybody give
3.
me a value? C could be
3.
3. Yeah, very easily you can take 3. So 2 to the power n plus 1 is less than equal to 3 into 2 to the power n. Make sense? For what values of n? N greater than equal to 1, any value you can take. Similarly, I leave it on you to show that if you take the small o and you take the big O of the same function and you find out the intersection of them, then this list is an empty set. Okay, because you know that if something is there, because there is no equality, so all the things bigger and smaller are there, so this set is going to be empty. Next question is an important question, and actually it talks about that can you arrange these function into some order, into their order of growth. So order of growth means asymptotic notation, means how they are increasing. So can you tell me that who is the of the highest order? So what are the functions? Let me one by one see. So this is the one's function, log n, then 2 to the power log n. So you know that this here into this case n and 2 can change. It becomes n to the power log of 2, and log we generally take into the base of 2 only. So it becomes n. So this is nothing more than n. What is this? This is under root of log n. This is e to the power n. This is n to the power log n. This is 3 to the 3 into n cube. So who is the largest growing one? So e to the power n is the largest growing one. Okay, e to the power n is the largest growing one. So you put e to the power n. Then who is going to the one next? N to the power n is there. Okay, n to the power 3. This is n to the power 3. So I put 3 into n to the power 3 plus 5. So at this place there is 3. So instead of 3, if I put a variable, it becomes bigger. So I can put the n to the power log n. Okay, because instead log n is going to increase. So this number is bigger. Am I right? Okay. Then we can take this third number. Okay, then we can take this third number, because this is only n and not the n to the power 3. The 2 to the power log n. Then this is the third number. Who is remaining? Under root of log n and log n. Who is bigger? Can you tell me? So under root of log n is bigger than log n. Okay. If you wish to find out, you can apply the log on these functions and try to see that who is bigger. Any more questions? Any questions? Any problem? Correct? Okay. Now we want to show you a very simple thing that most of you know from your mathematics background,
Excuse
that
me,
there is
sir.
something called recurrence relation. So recurrence relation is an expression into the form. For example, if you want to find out the nth term, you say that it is a multiplied by n by b plus fn. So let's assume that this is what the function is. Otherwise, it is some constant. Theta 1 means constant, otherwise it is constant if it is less than some constant. So this kind of functions are called recurrence relations. So if this is given, so they don't give the direct solution for anything. I want to find out Tn should be the function of n, but they are written into terms of the function of Tn only. So doesn't make some time direct understanding that what is the growth of this particular function. So how can we solve it? There are three methods to solve it. One is a substitution, and another is a iteration, and third one is a master method. We are going to see one by one all of them. So let us consider this expression that Tn is equal to 2t n by 2 plus n. So this is what my expression is. Okay, I want to find out the solution for this. So the substitution method says that you guess something and substitute. So I don't know what to guess. So let's assume that we have the guessing is not that easy. Sometimes you need some kind of earlier understanding. So then only you can prove it. Okay, and then only you can find out the tight bound. Okay, so let's assume that we guess that Tn is equal to big O of Tn is equal to big O of n log n. Let's assume that this is what I guessed. What does it mean? Okay, what does it mean? It means that Tn is less than equal to some c into n log n. Okay, this is what I mean. Okay, if this is this, then this is what it is. And here in this side, I have Tn by 2. So what is Tn by 2? What is Tn by 2? Can you tell me? It is less than equal to c n by 2 log n by 2. Okay. If I multiply this thing with the 2 and add a term n over here, then it becomes Tn. Okay. So here, let me multiply this by 2. The 2 is multiplied over here also. Let me add n over here, then n is also added over here. So everybody is okay with this particular formulation? Okay, because of my guess, I have created this. Okay. So here in this side, what I wanted to tell, that this side, what I can put Tn, because it is the direct expression. Using this thing, I can substitute. I can say that Tn. So Tn is this part. What is this? 2 multiplied by constant multiplied by n by 2 plus log n by 2 plus n. So everybody come here. Is this line clear? Can you write yes? Can you write yes? This line is clear. Okay. So if this line is clear, then we can let us do some kind of mathematics over here. So if it is greater than this, then it is, since it is a lower number, if I can remove this thing, and then because it is greater than this, so it is not going to affect, because if I remove this part, then the bigger number would come. If I also remove this part, then bigger number would come. Okay, so the Cn, and then this becomes n by 2, c and 2, then 2 get cancelled, and it becomes c n log n by 2 plus n. This part is also clear. Everybody, can you write yes? Yes, thank you. So if it is like this, then this 2 that we have can be taken out. So if you take it out, then it comes with a multiplying factor. Cn log 2 comes out. Okay, n remains the same. Cn log 2 comes out, and here what remains? Cn log n. Okay, so here important part is this. Can you recognize this part? Okay, can you recognize this part? If the value of c is greater than 1, not equal to, if value of c is greater than 1, then this part is negative. Okay, and if you remove this part, then this complete term becomes even bigger. Okay, so I am going to remove this part and say that this is greater than c and log n. Okay, so ultimately what I achieved, that Tn is less than equal to c n log n. Okay, if c is greater than 1. So if c is greater than 1, can I find out any value that is greater than 1? I can take c is equal to 2. Okay, no issues. So ultimately, the last part, and that is a very important part, that we have reached to the same formulation by which we started. Tn is greater than, this is what we assumed. This is what we assumed when we started. This is what we started from. If we reach to the same thing, then we say that my guess was right, and this is what the solution is. So what is the solution? Tn is equal to order of n log n. What is the solution? Tn is equal to order of n log n. Okay. So now you understand that this is how we find out the solution. We can say this is one method to find out the solution of the recurrence relationship using substitution. So what is the answer? Once again, let me tell you, the answer is this: Tn is equal to big O of n log n, and this is how we do it. Second method, iteration. You unfold it. However, sometimes it becomes very difficult because keeping the things very simple so that you can manage and find out the solution sometimes become difficult. If we reach our assumption, how does this means our assumption was right? Okay, so because we started by this and we are thinking that, okay, so it's you can think in that way, because this was we thought that this is this was my solution. Okay, we initially guessed this, but we have applied this for n by 2. Okay, and using n by 2 we have proved that it is true for n. So it's a mathematical induction. Makes sense? It's a mathematical induction by which we have proved it. So one part remains that you have to also show that it is true for the it is also true for the initial condition. So that can be done very easily. So this part is clear, Ayush, because we have not applied this to the original equation. If you apply to the original equation, it becomes problematic. Because we have applied n here for the n by 2, so it is a mathematical induction. Using mathematical induction method, we have actually find out that we have got this. So if we take n also, so as I'm telling that, you can prove multiple things. In n log n is a more tighter one. Okay, an order of n, if you consider the set for the order of n, and if you consider the set of n log n, okay, so n would have all those terms which are coming from the n log n. So it is a kind of subset. So you have to find out the most tightened one, and that this is the most difficult part to find out. That's why it is not that easy. You need to have some insight into the thing, because it may be possible that the better bound is already also available, but we have not proved that. But I just wanted to tell you how, but that part, that how to find out whether this is the exactly tight and right thing, we are not discussing here. We are only discussing that how can we use the substitution method. We are only discussing that. How this came, if you ask that, sir, how this came, I'm not talking about that. Okay, and as your question was that it is also going to be true for order of n, because this is a superset of order of n log n. So that's why definitely it is going to be true also. Makes sense? But we want to make it tight. Whether n log n is tightening enough, this is different question. Right now we are not addressing. Make sense? Saurabh, Shubham, is it clear? Yeah. So let us talk about the iteration. Into the iteration, actually, if Tn is equal to 3Tn by 4 plus n, so definitely you can start by saying that Tn is equal to 3Tn by 4, and I can take this n at the top. Then I can apply the same thing over here. I say that I write 3, then I put a bracket, then n by 4 plus 3Tn by 16. In the same way, then I again put a 3 n by 16 plus Tn n by 64, and I keep doing this. Okay, what would be my last term? It is something to the 4 to the power n divided by 4 to the power I when it becomes 1, because this would go on until n to the power 4 to the power I, and it would stop when this value becomes 1. This value becomes 1 means what? N is equal to 4 to the power I, and this is what the condition is written when n upon 4 to the power I becomes 1. And here you can find out that it is, what is the value of I? What is the value of I? Log of n at the base 4. Okay, so after some time it would get a stop. The now can we analyze something? Can we write something in such in some nice way so that we can find out the expression? Looks like that the first term is n, the next term is 3 by 4 into n, next term is 3 by 16 by n plus dot dot dot. Every time it is 3 by 4 to the power I, it is increasing. So I can take the n out, I can say that n is out, and then 3 by 4 to the power I, and definitely there would be finite number of term, but if I find out the summation till infinite term, so definitely it is going to be the bigger thing. So I find out the summation till infinite term, you know that the summation is going to be 1 upon 3 by 4, and it gives you 4 only. So this summation terms is going to give you what? 4. So overall value that comes 4n plus something here, the last term, because the last term would be 3 to the power this term. Okay, because every time order of the last term would generated into this particular size. And this is again, you can shift over here, it becomes n to the power log 4 to the power 3, log of 3 at the base 4, and this value is actually less than 1, so you can say that small o of n, and this becomes a big O of n. Make sense? Easy? Okay. Another method is a direct method that is called the master method. It can only be applied for the places where the my equation is of this particular form, that it is Tn and it is Tn by b. It is, there is some part, it is divided, the problem is divided into b part, and a part need to be solved, a multiplied by Tn n by b, and there is some cost associated for this particular divide, that is Fn. If this kind of expression is there, if this kind of expression is there, where we assume that these constants are a is greater than equal to 1, this a is greater than equal to 1, and b is greater than 1, so that it is dividing something. Otherwise, if b is equal to 1, then it is not dividing anything. Then, and n is always positive, we always assume. Then, if we can find out some epsilon that is greater than 0 in such a way so that if we compare this function and a function that I am going to give you, n to the power log of a at the base b, if you compare these two things, Fn and this, if you compare these two things and you find out, there could be three things, as either both the things are same, then it is the case 2, then it is a case 2. If this is a smaller, if this is a smaller, so then you take the big O and you remove something, this minus epsilon part, means you subtract something from here and then it becomes equal. If it is smaller, then you subtract, then it would become equal. Or it is larger. When it is smaller, when Fn is equal to n to the power log b to the power a minus epsilon, then Tn is equal to theta of this part only, theta of n log n, theta of n log what is this, log of a at the base b. Okay. Second thing, when they are equal, with this thing, with this term, you multiply another term, that is a log n. Okay. The third case, when this is not a small, this is big, this is the bigger term, then this is a larger term, then you have to add something over here to make it equal. So in that case, since it is larger, then you say that it is of order of Fn, provided there is a special condition into the third case. When Fn is larger, then you have to provide one more condition, that is called the regularity condition. Regularity condition must be checked, and regularity condition says that if, because you have now here Fn, so you take Fn and you divide by b, the b is coming from here, you multiply with a, and you see that if it should be less than equal to c multiplied by Fn for some c, that is c less than 1. If it is there, then you can say that Tn is equal to theta of Fn. So it is a direct method, very easy. So here in this case, for example, let us solve this thing. For example, this is a, this is b, then log of 9 at the base 3, and to the power you have to consider, and this value becomes n square, and you compare n square with the what? N square with the n. N square is bigger, therefore the answer is order of n square, theta of n square. Make sense? Next iteration, next thing. Here a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 3 by 2. You have to find out n to the power log of 1, 3 to the power 3 by 2, and you know that log of 1 is 0, therefore it is n to the power 0. N to the power 0 is 1, and you compare this one with this one, you see that they are equal, so therefore it is the case 2. When they are equal, then you put log of n, this function multiplied by log of n. So function is 1, so the answer is order of log n. It is the case 2. Let us see the third one, where a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 4. Then you have to compare n log of 3, 4. So it is something less than 1, n to the power less than 1 something, and this is n log n. So n log n is bigger than that. So you say that the Tn is equal to order of n log n. One catch is there that I told you, that you have to prove that this condition also exists, and I just let you to verify by yourself as a homework that this condition indeed is there. Next condition, that the next and one more recurrent relationship. Let us see that Tn is equal to 2t n by 2 plus n log n. So here what is a? Here what is a? A is equal to and you have to consider log of 2 at the base 2. Okay, it becomes n to the power 1. Okay, and you have to compare it with the n log n. Who is bigger? Who is bigger? Looks like that, and log n is bigger. Okay, but actually it is not, because here you have to compare this n log n plus epsilon should be. So I have to find out 1 plus epsilon, and I have to compare this thing with this thing. Actually I have to compare this thing with this thing. So essentially what it means that I have to compare n to the power epsilon. It should be less than, if it is less than log n, then only I can say that it is the case 3. But this is not like that. This is not, this actually doesn't hold. Why? Because you can take the log into both the side, and you can see that epsilon log n is less than equal to log n. Okay, am I right? Am I right? So this is divided by log n. So epsilon is less than log n upon log n. So can you fix, because I told you that this epsilon is a constant. So as the n increases, this value actually increases, and epsilon should be less than that. So I cannot fix any epsilon, because as the n grows, it would find out another value, that whatever value I fix for the epsilon would be invalid. So that's why we cannot apply the master method over here. And there's a small definition and discussion on this, the same discussion that we have just do. Now the last part that I want to construct in today's class, we want to see that how you multiply two integer multiplication. How you multiply 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 5. If you want to multiply this 5 multiplied by over here, and in integer we size by size, as I told you earlier, that by size we mean number of digit. So number of digit is n. So first number is multiplied by all these, then second number is multiplied by all these. So total number of times is required order of n square. So this is how you multiply. Can you improve? Okay, how much time it takes? Order of n square. So can you improve? One method is this, that you can see the number into this form, any number, for example 3, 1, 2, 1. You can say that 31 into 10 to the power 2 plus 21. You can say like this. Every number you can divide into 2 parts, and that it is a number of digit divided to 10 to the power n by 2 and x by 2, where this n signifies that what is the input size. Okay. So if you want to find out the multiplication of two number, where the first number is x1 into 10 to the power, so any number can be written as x into 10 to the power n by 2 plus x0. So if another number y can also be written to same way, y1 into 10 to the power n by 2 plus y0. Okay, two parts. So if the number is written, if you want to find out the multiplication, you can see that. So x1 into 10 to the power n by 2 plus x0, y1 into 10 to the power n by 2 plus y0. If you find out the multiplication of these two numbers, it is going to be x1, x2, 10 to the power n plus what? This multiplied by, it is x1 y0 x to the power n by 2 plus y1 x0 x to the power n by 2 plus x0 y0. This is what it is, the answer. The same expression is written over here. How many multiplication is needed? One multiplication of the n by 2 size, because here these numbers are smaller. This multiplication and this multiplication, how many multiplication needed? 4 multiplication of n by 2 size plus constant time to accommodate them, Cn. What is the solution of this thing? We have seen by master method that it is order of again n square. So no profit. But if you analyze that, if you want to find out x1, this number, and you x1 plus x0 and y1 plus y0, if you multiply, this multiplication comes out to be into this particular form: x1 y1 x0 y1 x1 y0 x0 y0. You can find out this thing and say that A. You can find out this, you can say B. And this is another number. This is another number, because x1 and x2 are known to you. Then you can find out another number, and this number you can find out into third multiplication. Okay. So if you these three numbers are there, if you want to find out this the value of this thing that was actually present over here. Okay, once again let me tell you what I am telling. Okay, don't get confused. So let me tell you that what I wanted to tell you is this, that x1 y1 you want to find out, given x and y, you can find out what is this value. It takes order of t n by 2 time. Makes sense? If you want to find out x2 y2, it take t n by 2 time. If you want to find out this particular term, so instead of directly finding out you find out this particular term. This particular term, because x1 is known to you, x0 is known to you, y1 and y0 is known to you, you can find out in order of t n by 2. And you can utilize these two numbers to subtract from this summation, and you can obtain this particular number and put it here. So how many multiplication are number multiplication are there? 3. So by this, it is going to be only 3 multiplied by over there, and you can find out the multiplication. This method is called Karatsuba's algorithm, that says that if two numbers are given to you, x and y, realize them as a x1 and x0, y1 and y0, then find out the multiplication of these summations, find out multiplication of individual term, and return this as an answer. Make sense? This algorithm would take time complexity of order of n plus 3 t n by 2, and you can see that the expression that is going to be there. What is the running time? It is going to be order of n to the power log at the base 2 3. Okay, using master method you can apply over here. We have just seen. So by this this number is going to be order of n to the power 1.59. That is way better than n to the power order of n to the power 2. Any questions here? So I call you that, let's assume that 103412, for example, 421312. Try to find out that what the multiplication of these two numbers. So you know that every time you need to divide into two parts, so you can add the required number of zeros over here and proceed and find out that what the multiplication. Make sense? Thank you very much. Thank you.